You're 25 years old. You're lying in a room, in a Moscow hospital, and you can't move your arms. The skin comes off in layers, like wallpaper from the wall in an old apartment. Only it's not wallpaper. It's you, your body, the one that 3 weeks ago could pull up 20 times and run. A 100-meter run in 12 seconds. Now it's betraying you. Cell by cell, organ by organ. The nurse just doesn't change. Twice a day, they get soaked. Sucrose and something else. Something that doesn't. Do you have a name in the textbooks you read at school? Natasha, your wife, is standing behind the glass of the ward. She's two. She's looking at you, and you see her biting her lip to keep from crying. You want to say, go away, save yourself. But my throat won't work. The taste of metal is in my mouth. It has not been held since April 26th, but it all started differently. 1961, April. Village. Ozernaya, Gomel region, Belarus. You were born in a house that smells of stove, smoke, and fresh milk. His father is a construction worker. His arms are wide, tan to the elbows. My mother worked on a collective farm before that. Gets up at 4 a.m., goes to bed at 10 o'clock. The house is wooden, with 2 windows facing the road and 1 facing the garden. Beyond the garden is a forest. Beyond the forest is another world, which you're still talking about. You don't know anything. Childhood is as simple as bread. In summer, a river, a fish on a fishing rod, barefoot on a dusty road. In winter, a stove, a roller coaster, a sled from a hill outside the village. The electricity was turned on when you were 5. The TV appeared when I turned 8. A black and white record with a round lens. In the evenings, the whole village gathers to watch the program. Time. My father is proud. We're the first on the street. You study average at school. Mathematics, 3s, Russian, 4s. But I'm the first one in physical education. You run the fastest, you pull yourself up the most. Physical education teacher Ivan Timofeyevich, a former paratrooper, claps on the shoulder. Andruka, you need to join the army. They appreciate such people there. You nod. The army is far away and interesting. In the meantime, school, a vegetable garden, and helping my father at the construction site. The first death you see is Grandma. You're 12. She is lying on a bench in the upper room, small, dry, in a white shawl. It smells of wax and herbs. The mother cries softly. My father is standing against the wall, looking at the floor. You don't understand why Grandma isn't breathing. You don't understand how a person can stop being. At night, you lie in the dark, stare at the ceiling, and think, I'm going to die someday too. It's a cold, alien thought. You drive her away. You're 12, you'll live forever. At 1400 hours, you decide whether you will go to the city. The village is cramped, stuffy. Everyone knows everyone. I want space. I want something big. The father is silent, then says, go ahead, just don't get lost. Mother packs a suitcase. Shirts, socks, a jar of jam, kisses on the forehead. You get on the bus. The road is dusty. The fields of the village flash by the window. Woodlands, Gomel Vocational School. Profession is ahead. You still don't know that through 12 years from this village to the place that will kill you. Will it be 40 kilometers in a straight line? That the wind will carry invisible death. It is here in the fields, in the vegetable gardens, on the roof of the house where you were born. For now you read just driving and smiling. I have been living in Gomel for 2 years. Profession, electrician. Your hands quickly get used to wires, terminals, and circuits. A dormitory for people. The smell of sour socks and cheap cologne. In the evenings, dancing in the recreation center. Port wines from the throat on the bench. An ordinary youth no different from millions of others. The 82nd year. Army. A call. The haircut is below zero. The smell of the barracks. You end up in a fire station in Moscow. An accident that determined everything. He could have got into a construction site, into a motorized rifle squad. Where? Anything but firefighters. The first week. Rise 6. Charging. The drill hall. Theory of Garenge. baroque melancholy. But then, the first checkout, a warehouse on the outskirts is on fire. You run with your sleeve, the water is under. Pressure, the heat burns your face through. The visor, the adrenaline is so strong that my knees are shaking. After extinguishing, you stand with a wet smudge and feel it. That's what it's for. Sergeant Kolesnikov, 20 years in the fire department, mustachioed and calm as a tank, puts down a hand on my shoulder. It's okay, Volkov, I'm not crazy. You'll be useful. 2 years of service. You learn how to put out, unfold your sleeves, and climb an assault ladder. Stairs, work in smoke. Filled rooms. You get a degree in fire applied sports. The master of sports is almost a machine body. 180 height, broad shoulders, wiry arms. The commander of the unit on D-Mob shakes hands. You need to stay in Moscow for an extended period of time. You think Moscow is a big city of opportunity, but Moscow is crowded and bustling, and you want something new. And then you'll find out about Pripyat, the city of dreams. New, clean, built from scratch for employees. Chernobyl nuclear power plant. The average age of the residents is 26 years. Wide avenues new. Houses, swimming pool, cinemas, park, amusement rides, yacht club on the river. Salaries are higher than the union average. The supply is like in Moscow. The waiting list for an apartment is 3 years, not 20. The nuclear power plant is only 4 kilometers away. The pride of Soviet science. You're getting a job at the Independent Paramilitary Fire Department number 6 for the protection of the city. Pripyat, UHF 6. The barracks, the garage, the red cars are unlikely. The head of the Kravchenko unit, 40-year-old. Strict, fair. The wolves. We don't. Moscow, the atomic city, is responsible for space. You nod. Do you like it here? I like the feeling that you're doing something important. Natasha, do you meet her in the dining room? On Kurchatov Street. She works as a pastry chef at a kitchen factory. 20 years old, dark-haired, funny, dimpled. You see her, that's all. You come up. You say something stupid about cutlets. She laughs. You've been seeing her off every day since that evening. After 3 months, the first kiss at the entrance under the streetlight. Moths swirl around the lamp. The wedding is in a year. Saks, a white dress, friend from the unit, an accordion in the yard. The dorm room is directly above the fire station. When the cars start downstairs, the bed vibrates. Natasha laughs like we live on a train. You make plans. The apartment is already 2 years old. In the queue. Children must have 2. A boy and a girl. He'll be a firefighter. She'll be a doctor. Or on the contrary, clears throat. It doesn't matter. The main thing is family, home, future. On weekends, go to your parents' in Lake 40 kilometers. The mother feeds pies. The father is proud of his son in uniform in office. Are you happy? So simply so, completely, so unconditionally happy that sometimes at night, when Natasha is naked, you lie and listen to her breathing and think. Let it always be like this, let nothing change. On April 25th, you take the Echo. Tomorrow morning, my parents are going to help with planting potatoes in the garden. Natasha, she collect a bag, jars, seeds, warm, socks for her mother. An ordinary evening, an ordinary Friday, an ordinary life. It will end in 6 hours and 23 minutes. You're sleeping. Natasha is next to me, warm, breathing is even, and there is silence outside the window. Pripyat sleeps. 49,000 people have their usual dreams on a typical Friday night. 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 47 seconds. You don't hear the explosion. The 4th block is 4 kilometers away. 2 far for sound, too close for life. But something will be for you. Some kind of change in the air. Maybe a vibration. Maybe it's the subconscious. You open your eyes, stare at the ceiling. Nothing. Silence. You turn over, and there's a siren. The sharp, piercing wail of a fire alarm downstairs in the unit. You jump up automatically. The body remembers. before the head understands. Natasha wakes up, sits up in bed. What? What happened? Are you already pulling on your pants? Challenge. Go to sleep. I'll be right there. She goes too. You go to the window, too, and you see the glow. Above the glow station. Not orange like in a normal fire. The other one has a bluish tinge, shimmering, alive as if the sky itself is burning. A column of smoke rises. Up, illuminated from below. It's beautiful. Terribly beautiful. There's a fire at the station. You say. You kiss Natasha on the temple. Go to bed. I'll be back in the morning. She grabs my hand. Andre, there's something in her voice. A premonition or just fear. You gently pull your hand free. Everything is fine. An ordinary fire. The last thing you see when you leave is her silhouette in the window. She looks at the glow. There's organized chaos below. Boys. They pull on their robes, fasten their belts, and jump on cars. Squad Commander Sergei Tarasov, 30 years old, mustache, eternally calm, distributes people. Volkovtomy, tanker truck. The second. Calculation. You're running. Kurza boots. A robokambas helmet. Standard. Equipment for a normal fire. Only, this is an unusual fire. The car takes off. For kilometers to the station, 3 minutes on. An empty road. It grows wildly behind the windshield. Do you see? No, it's not. Just a fire. The building of the fourth block was destroyed. The roof is caved in. Something is glowing from the wreckage. Something you don't. You could give me names. Sergei crosses himself on the seat next to him. He was never baptized. Come on up. A car from HPV-2, the part that guards. The station itself is already standing nearby. They arrived first 5 minutes after the explosion. Lieutenant Pravik, 23 years old. Just a kid, already upstairs. His guards are already unfolding their sleeves. You jump out of the cabin. The first thing that hits is the smell. Not smoke, not smoke. Something else sharp, metallic, and pungent like chewing. Foil. The taste settles on the tongue and does not go away. My throat starts to tingle and my eyes water. You wipe it with your sleeve. It doesn't help. Secondly, the heat is not from the fire. Another heat from the inside, like a million invisible needles pricking my skin, but I don't have time to think. Team, go to the roof of the engine room. Do not let the fire move to the third block. You're running. The sleeve is heavy, wet and slippery. The staircase is external. Metal rattles under boots. Up 7 a.m. The heat increases with each flight. And that smell, that damn metallic taste. You go up to the roof and get into the pond. The roof of the engine room. The bitumen coating burns, melts, bubbles, and flows in red-hot streams underfoot. Boots stick to the surface. With each step, you have to peel the sole off the molten tar. The heat from below is such that you can feel your feet burning through the soles. Bitumen sticks to the pickaxe. The pickaxe begins to melt. The skin on your feet blisters, but you don't stop. There's no time. There are pieces of something around. Dark, gray, angular. You step over them. Kick them out of the way. You'll find out later it's graphite from the reactor core. Each piece weighs so much that you can't stand next to it for more than a minute. But you don't know. No one knows. You were told there was a fire on the roof. An ordinary fire. Put it out. On the right. The collapse of the fourth block. There is no wall. The reactor is open like a tin can. From the mouth comes a bluish, otherworldly, beautiful glow. You look at him for a second and look away. Something tells me not to look, but it's too late. That second cost you a dose that would last 10 lives. Serega shouts. Here's the sleeve. The trunk is at the junction between the third and fourth. You're pulling off your sleeve. Water gushes onto the burning bitumen. Steam rises. Steam mixes with smoke. And something else, invisible, colorless, and almost odorless. Radioactive. Aerosol. You inhale it deeply. The lungs absorb cesium, strontium, and plutonium. Every breath is a verdict. You work, you put out, you drag. Sleeves. You raise the pressure. The flame recedes in one place, flares up in another. The roof is huge, 3,000 square meters. There are a handful of you, 28 men of the First Guard Plus. Your unit against the fire, which should not have been at a height where a person should not have been. It starts in an hour. Nausea comes in a wave, sudden and intense. You bend over. You throw up right on the roof. Bide. Sour, bitter. Nearby is Kokovaschik, a healthy guy, a master sportsman. In the struggle, he also vomits, bent over in half. Sarega stands pale, holding on to the railing. My legs are weak and my head is spinning. The world is floating as if you re-drunk, but you're sober, absolutely sober. It's not alcohol. This radiation is breaking down brain cells right now in real time. You just don't know what it's called yet. The skin on the face and hands begins to burn, not from fire, but from the invisible, like a sunburn, only momentary, deep. The face gets redder. You touch my cheek, hot as an iron. Nuclear tan is what they'll call it later. Someone is falling. Alex, Tashura, young, 22 years old, 3 months after the wedding, settles on the roof like a trepid doll. My legs gave out. You drop your sleeve, grab him by the arms, and drag him to the stairs. He's heavy, motionless. His eyes roll back in his head. You drag me down the stairs. Each flight takes forever. My hands are shaking. You turn him in as an orderly, or you send him back upstairs because the fire hasn't been extinguished. Because if the fire spreads to the third block, there will be a second disaster. You, not a hero. You don't think about the feat you rethinking of putting it out and planting potatoes at Natasha's house. Ordinary thoughts of an ordinary person in an unusual ode. By 4:30 a.m., the main fires on the roof are suppressed. You go downstairs. Your legs won't hold you up. Every step is like walking on glass. You sit down on the asphalt by the car. You vomit over and over again. My hands are shaking. The world is spinning. Sarega sits down next to me. His face is red, swollen, and unrecognizable. He's silent then, quiet. Andrew, it wasn't a fire. You, no, already know, but you can't name it. Sunrise. The sun rises above Pripyat, an ordinary April morning. The birds are singing. People will wake up, get their kids ready for school, and go to work. They don't. No, no one knows yet. And you're already dead. It's just that the body doesn't know yet. Pripyatskaya Medical Unit number 126. Cramped. Corridors, white tiles, the smell of a farm. You, relying on a gurney in the hallway. There are no seats in the wards. There are 20 more people nearby. Firefighters, station operators, dosimetrists, all with the same faces. Red, swollen. Everyone pukes. Nurses are running between gurneys with IVs. The doctor, a young woman with a haggard face, examines, writes down, shakes her head. Her hands are shaking. She understands too. Natasha comes running at 7 a.m. The cordon is not allowed near the hospital. She rushes along the fence looking for a crack, a loophole, finds a familiar nurse, coaxes for 5 minutes. He comes into the hallway, sees you, stops. You can see how her legs are giving out. You look. You know what you look like. Her face is beet colored. Her eyes are swollen shut. Her lips are swollen. And her hands are purple and blistered. She comes over and takes my hand. Andrew, my voice is breaking. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. You're whispering. Natasha, go to your parents. You can't. Stay here. She shakes her head. I'm with you. During the day, the usual walking around the city. Life. Children play in the yards. Wedding on the square. The newlyweds are photographed at the fountain. People sunbathe on the roofs. No one knows. A radioactive cloud hangs over the city, invisible, odorless, tasteless. It settles on clothes, on hair, on playgrounds, on apple trees that have just begun to bloom. Only by the evening of the 26th, buses appear. 1,100 pieces are lined up on the streets. The announcement is on the radio. Dear comrades, due to the accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, a temporary evacuation is underway. Temporary. They tell you for 3 days, don't take too much. Things, documents, money, groceries for the trip. People leave their apartments in light. Clothes. Some people leave. Their irons on, thinking, come back, don't come back. No one will ever come back. You and the other. Firefighters are loaded onto a military aircraft earlier in the morning and sent to Moscow. The clinical hospital is numbered. 6 floors are all occupied by the irradiated 200 people. The corridors smell of antiseptic and fear. The doctors wore gloves, masks, and some wore lead aprons. They know what you're just beginning to understand. First tests: blood, urine, bone marrow, puncture from the sternum. A long needle enters the bone, dull pain. You lie there and stare at the ceiling. The white ceiling, just like when I was a kid when I lay at night and thought, I will live forever. Doctor, elderly woman, professor. Gaskova, a world expert on radiation. Sickness comes up to the bed, looks at the map, looks at you. The face does not express anything, a professional mask. But you see the eyes, in the eyes of the verdict. The dose. She doesn't answer. Then we'll do our best. This is the answer. If the dose had been small, she would have said, nonsense, we'll be discharged in a month. She didn't say. She said, we'll do everything possible. You don't translate much hope. 1,600 x-rays. You'll find out this figure later by chance from a nurse. 1,600. The lethal dose is 400. You have 4 times as much. You're already dead. It's just that the body doesn't know yet. He doesn't know yet. And then a miracle or something that looks like a miracle happens. You feel better on the 3rd day. The nausea recedes and my head stops spinning. My face is still red, but the swelling is subsiding. You sit up in bed, eat broth, drink tea, smile at the nurse. She doesn't smile back. She knows. This is called the period of imaginary well-being. The hidden period. The latent phase. The body is still. It didn't realize it was dead. The bone marrow still produces blood cells, those that were deposited before irradiation. The immune system is still running on reserves. Like a car whose gas line was cut off, but there was gasoline left in the carburetor. She's still on her way, but she'll be up soon. You don't know that. You feel fine. Almost fine. You walk around the ward. Get to know the neighbors. There are 4 people in the room, all firefighters. Koko Vashchuk, Lyosha, Tashura, and Pravik, the same HPV-2 lieutenant, who was the first to climb onto the roof. He is 23, has a wife and a young daughter in Pripyat. He jokes, Andrew, we're glowing now. In the dark. Wives don't need a flashlight. You play cards, tell stories, and laugh. From the outside, the usual hospital. Boredom. For young men who can't wait to check out. Only nurses don't come in without gloves. And the walls of the ward are lined with lead. And the tests are taken every 4 hours. Natasha gets to Moscow on May 3rd. You don't know how? Persuaded, deceived, broke through. The doctors don't want to let me in. They say it's dangerous. A trained organism becomes a source by itself. You can't touch it. She nods. I won't touch it. I'll just sit next to it. She's allowed in for 15 minutes. He comes in and sees you. You're sitting on the bed, smiling. She exhales. Andrew, you look good. You can see hope in her eyes, a real, living, desperate hope. And you're doing everything you could to keep her. You're joking, telling me how they feed you, how the ruler beats everyone in a fool, and how they promise to discharge you in a month. You're lying. Not because you know the truth, but because you feel the truth lurking somewhere nearby. Waiting. She comes every day, for 15 minutes, stand behind the glass, waving her hand. Sometimes he comes, and when the nurses are not looking, touches the hand. They tell her, you can't, and she touches them. May Day, Victory Day. In the evening, you ask to open the window. Moscow is festive and shining outside the window. Fireworks are booming. Red, green, and golden flashes. bloom in the sky above the rooftops. You. Look, Natasha is standing next to the window. You are silent. The fireworks light up her face. And yours. Two faces in the darkness of the ward, flooded with multicolored flashes. You think, if I die, the last thing I LLC will be the fireworks and her face. She takes your hand, but you don't take it away. This is the last good night of your life. May 10th morning. You wake up and, you know, something changed, something broke overnight. Hands. You raise. Your palms, the skin on them cracks, does not peel off, cracks like the earth in a drought. Sucrose oozes from the cracks. Transparent, sticky. You look and you don't understand. These are my hands. The ones who pulled their sleeves up to the roof 3 weeks ago. Who hugged Natasha. By lunchtime, the skin starts to come off. Not in chunks. Layers, whole pieces like gloves. It's red, wet, and alive under them. Does it hurt? No, it's not like that. The word does not convey pain. It's like peeling the skin off your palm and putting salt on the wound. And don't clean it up. Never clean up. Hair falls out. There's a whole bunch on my pillow in the morning. By evening, there was almost nothing left. A smooth, wet skull. You touch and pull back your hand. Someone else's head is not yours. You don't recognize yourself. The rule in the next bed is worse. He got more. His face is a continuous wound. His lips are swollen so that he cannot speak. He is breathing through a tube. Her eyes were swollen shut. On May 11th, at night, he begins to scream, not from pain, but from terror. He sees his hands and doesn't recognize them. The nurses inject morphine. The scream turns into a moan, then into silence. Pripyat dies on May 11th. He is 23 years old, and his daughter is 1.5. She won't remember his face. Just a picture on the wall. A young lieutenant in uniform with clear eyes and a smile. That's how he was. I spent 2 hours on the roof, and he was gone. You're getting a bone marrow transplant. Last chance surgery. My sister comes from Belarus and gives me hers. Bone marrow is a blood factory. Your factory is destroyed by radiation. We need a new one. A long needle enters the sternum. The pain is such that it darkens in the eyes. But you endure. You put up with everything for Natasha. For a chance, even if it's 1 out of 100. The transplant does not take root. The body rejects someone else's bone marrow. The immune system, what's left of her, is at war with the only thing that could save her. An irony you wouldn't appreciate. The blood stops clotting, oozes from the gums, from the nose, from the places where the tests were taken. Any scratch and blood doesn't stop. They put bandages around you. You're lying like a mummy. White, red, white. May 12th. Liver. It refuses. The skin, the one that remains, turns yellow. My heart is beating unevenly, skipping beats. Every pass is like a drop into the void. You, re-gasping for air. The oxygen mask helps, but not for long. The lungs fill with fluid. Every breath is like breathing through a wet rag. Natasha is already allowed in without restrictions. When the restrictions are lifted, that's it. So it doesn't matter how much she gets, so there's no time left. She sits down next to me, takes the hand of the one with no skin on it. They told her, don't touch it. She's touching. She's stroking because she's left holding hands and saying something quiet, affectionate, meaningless. The words that are said to children when they cry. Words that mean nothing and mean everything. You want to tell her, don't cry. Do you want tell you I love you? You want to say, I'm sorry that you didn't go to your parents. Plant potatoes. But the throat doesn't work. The ligaments are burned. Only the eyes. You look at her. She looks at you. The night of the 13th. Kalko Voschuk died 2 days ago. Lyosha Tashura yesterday. Are you alone in the room? No, not alone. Natasha is here. He's sitting on a chair, holding his hand, not sleeping. He hasn't slept for 3 nights. You close your eyes. You see a village, a lake, a summer, a river, a boy. running barefoot on a dusty road. He is 10 years old. He will live forever. He doesn't know that he won't. You see the roof, the glow, the blue glow from the reactor collapse. Nicely. It's terribly beautiful. Do you see Natasha in the window? Silhouette against the background of Zariva. She waves her hand. May 13th, 1986, 17. Days after the accident. You die at 6 o'clock a.m. You're 25 years old. Cause of death. Acute radiation sickness of the 4th degree. The radiation dose is 1,600 belts. The lethal dose is 400. Natasha is sitting next to me. She's not crying. The tears stopped 2 days ago. She just sits there and holds what's left of your hand. A nurse enters, checks for a pulse, shakes her head, and writes down the time. You're being buried at the Mytinsky Cemetery in Moscow. The zinc coffin is sealed, filled with concrete. You can't be buried like an ordinary person. Your body is a radioactive source. It will last for decades to come. Even if you're dead, you're dangerous to the living. There are 6 identical models in the cemetery. Pravik, Kadnak, Voschuk, Tishura, Anti, and you. 6 firefighters who went up to the roof that night and did not return. Young, healthy, and alive. 3 weeks ago. Now zinc, concrete, earth. Natasha stands at the grave. Black handkerchief, white face. She's about a year old, and she is a widow. She has no home. Pripyat has been evacuated forever. She doesn't have a husband. He's lying in a lead coffin. She doesn't. Do you have the future you planned? Apartment, 2 children, a boy and a girl. My parents came from Ozernoy. The mother, aged 20 years and 17 days. The father stands, looks at the grave, is silent. He is a builder. He built houses. His son is lying in a house made of zinc and concrete. Their village, Ozernaya, 40 kilometers from the station, was infected. That's where the radioactive cloud went. The apple trees that bloomed in April produced fruits that cannot be eaten. The well you used to drink from as a child is poisoned. The vegetable garden where you were supposed to plant potatoes on April 26th is burning. The parents will be relocated. The house will be boarded up. The village will be empty. Another victim who won't be mentioned in the reports. Statistics, 28 firefighters and station workers died from acute radiation sickness in the first months. 134 people diagnosed radiation sickness of varying degrees. 600,000. The liquidators passed through the zone over the following years. Soldiers, chemists, construction workers, miners, drivers. Everyone got their dose. Everyone paid their price. Some immediately, some years later, someone in decades. The city of Pripyat, 49,000 inhabitants, ceased to exist. In 36 hours forever. The exclusion zone is 30 km around the station. Hundreds of villages, thousands of houses, schools, hospitals, shops. Everything is abandoned. People left with one suitcase, some without a suitcase. The children's toys were left in the oven. The soup was left on the stove. Laundry on the ropes. The ghost town. Ghost village. Ghost lives. The zone will be dangerous for another 24,000 years. That's how much plutonium decays. But here's what's important. What should you remember? That night, if the firefighters had not gone up to the roof, the fire would have spread to the 3rd power unit, then the 2nd, then the 1st. 4 reactors. A catastrophe that would make half of Europe uninhabitable. This did not happen because 28 people in tarpaulin robes and canvas boots, without dosimeters, without protection, without understanding where they were going, put out the fire in 5 hours at the cost of their lives. You weren't given a choice. They didn't tell you there's death on the roof. They told you put out the fire on the roof. And you went because it's your job, because you're a firefighter, because that's what you were taught. The system did not warn. The system did not protect. The system lied on April 26th and on the 27th. And then when it said that the situation was under control, that the background was normal, that there was no danger. The system used you as a consumable like graphite, like bitumen, like zinc for a coffin. You were born in 1961, died in 1986, 25 years old. Of these on the roof of the fourth block. 3 hours. 3 hours that cost you everything. Natasha will survive. She will move on. She will tell your story to journalists, writers, and directors so that they will remember, so that they will know, so that never again will a single person in a tarpaulin robe go to a radioactive roof without warning. It's been your whole life. Short, ordinary, and ragged. You wanted a plant. Potatoes, you wanted 2 children, a boy and a girl. You wanted an apartment with a view of the river. You wanted to grow old next to Natasha. He received a zinc coffin and a hero star. Posthumously. Thanks for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel. Write in the comments whose fate to sort out. Next, remember, every choice has a price. Sometimes it is not paid by the one who chose it.